Hello everyone. Welcome back again. I see I've picked up a few more new subscribers, so thank you to those people who are new. Welcome. Um, Today's video is a match that I had on Mother's Dwelling. I'm sure if you play, you know that Mother's Dwelling is in fact the biggest map in Dead by Daylight. It is not a fun map for killers to play. There is a very large gen spread, very difficult to control the gens or even hold a 3 gen because of the space in between each of the gens. So it's not a map that most killers look forward to going to. The controversy that this clip that I posted caused on my TikTok is due to what I class as toxicity and what other people don't class as toxicity. So today I'd like to talk about that. What do you consider to be toxic? Does toxicity bother you in the game? Are you bothered if survivors teabag you? Are you bothered if killers hit you on the hook? Or what I tend to get a lot of is killers slugging and then BMing over your body while you bleed out. That's what I tend to see a lot of. Anyway, and you'll see in this clip that the Cheryl who gets hooked first in the basement, unfortunately she gets left to second stage. I can only assume it's because her team didn't want to go into the basement against a hag, which is understandable. Although they do rescue the Dwight who gets hooked after her, although he's not in the basement, so they should have prioritized unhooking the Cheryl first so that she didn't go into second, but they didn't. When Cheryl comes out of the basement, she does get downed again by one of my traps, and I leave her down as I feel bad for her. I realize that she went into second, and if I hook her again now, she's out of the game and she hasn't really had time to do anything. So I leave her down on the floor and I go off after somebody else, hoping that the team will come and pick her up. Or maybe she'll have Unbreakable and she can get herself up. I also go out of my way later in the game, after she is picked up, to not focus her and to give her a chance to go and do stuff. As again, I feel bad for her. She didn't really have much of a game. Later on in the game, I am in a chase with her and the Rebecca, and I decide to go for the Rebecca instead of the Cheryl. I then go over to the shack to start setting up there, as the Dwight had a habit of constantly running towards shack to loop, so I was prepping for when he'd go there again later on. And I find Cheryl there. Again, I didn't want to take her out as I felt bad, so I was just hoping she'd throw the pallet at shack so I could get that out the way, and then I'd go back to the others. She did in fact throw the pallet for me, and then she teabagged me at the pallet before she ran off. Now, there are people on my TikTok saying that I am triggered by this and I'm salty over this. It's nothing to do with being triggered or salty. What it's to do with is when killers play fair with you, and let's be honest people, how many killers play fair in this game? I don't come across many fair killers. I don't know about y'all, but usually the killers are dicks. Let's just say it. So I don't appreciate it when I play fair with you, when I could have took you out of the game 5 minutes ago and I didn't. That when I come across you again, you think that it's fun to teabag me. Everybody knows what teabagging means. Teabagging is not thank you. It's not oh hi. It literally means I'm putting my balls on your face. If you don't consider that to be toxic, then good for you. But I consider it to be toxic, especially after I went out of my way to be nice to you. So I don't appreciate you teabagging me. Anyway, you'll see how the game plays out. I just would love to hear your opinions on what you consider to be toxic and what you don't consider to be toxic. As I said, it's not about being triggered. It's about manners. Good manners. Do you not have good manners? Did your mother not teach you to not be rude to people when they're not rude to you? I think it's just a basic decency that yes, we are playing a game, but there is a person on the other end of the screen that you're playing against. They have feelings too. I don't understand why you would go out of your way to be rude to somebody when they weren't rude to you. As I said, I could have took her out of the game very early on. I didn't. I allowed her to be picked up. I allowed her to be healed. I don't expect you to shower me with kisses or send me money through PayPal as a thank you. I just expect a little bit of decency, just a little bit of respect, that I did give you a break when many killers wouldn't. I understand that we're still going to chase, you're still going to drop pallets, etc. and everything else. Just don't teabag me, you know. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the matter. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. For me, I don't find killers or survivors using their perks to be toxic, as some people seem to think on TikTok. In my opinion, If you repeatedly teabag me, if you clickety click me or point at me, that is what I consider you being toxic. And for killer, I consider toxicity to be when they beat you on hook, repeatedly especially, or when they leave you slugged and then, I don't know if you've had this happen to you, but they leave you slugged and they go backwards or forwards over your body. I call it dicking you. They just repeatedly go backwards and forwards over your body on the floor until you're almost bled out. Then they pick you up and hook you, and usually it's followed by a slap on the hook and head nodding. That's what I consider to be toxic. Anything else I think is fair play in the game. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but those are my thoughts on the matter. So I guess I shall let the video play and you can see what happened and you can decide for yourself. Was I in the wrong? Was Cheryl in the wrong? Was anybody in the wrong? Your thoughts would be greatly appreciated. I hope you enjoy the video and I shall see you on the other side. So guys, as you can see, here we are on Mother's Dwelling, the largest map in DBD. As you can see, those gens are very far spread. And when I play this map, I tend to focus maybe the main building and a few of the tiles around it. It's difficult to know how to play it because of the size of it. You can see we run into Dwight, which is not good for me as I haven't set up many traps yet. I don't like to run into survivors early on until I've got a web prepped, as usually it spells disaster when you're playing Hag. But anyway, here we found the Dwight, so we enter chase with him. He dodged that trap nicely and gives me a pallet. And the obligatory stare down, because you know he did something because he threw a pallet. So we let him go and then I continue trapping on areas I think might be useful later on. There goes our first gen. See, we've only got half the amount of traps on the board. 5 out of 10. And here's our Cheryl. So we get a nice hit on her there, and obviously we take her flashlight because you know how much I love Franklin's. And then Rebecca trips the trap, take her medkit. There's another gen. This is what I tell people who may be new to playing Hag, not to let the amount of gens you lose at the start phase you. It is completely normal to lose gens while playing Hag. Unless of course you're facing a really baby team who are just not doing anything. As you see, Cheryl there gets caught out by the same trap that she got caught out on the first time, which is why I always recommend replacing your traps, especially the traps that work. Unfortunately for Cheryl, she's near the basement, so with a Hag, of course, I expect to put them in the basement. So we hang her up and we trap. That's my favourite trap spot for the basement there, just in the corner. And then we go back to replacing traps. And unluckily for Dwight, he was close when I hooked the Cheryl, so he's under Starstruck. So we get another down quite quickly. Hook, trap, and we move on. It's David. He got caught out by a trap that I laid when I was in chase with the Dwight earlier. He's now lost his medkit as well. I was expecting an unhook to happen in the basement any second now, as Cheryl's been down there for quite a while, but no. Nobody goes for it. There's the unhook on the Dwight. They prioritised unhooking Dwight over going for Cheryl in the basement. They were trying to heal a hook, which is not usually a good idea. Here comes David. Now, to give David his dues, he was trying to go for Cheryl in the basement there. So good on you, David, for actually trying. Unfortunately, he didn't see the trap, so he ends up in the basement with her. No need to trap, as the trap in the corner is still there, so we leave again. Back to Dwight. As you can see, I'm well away from the basement. Most killers would have camped out the basement, as obviously having two in the basement is very beneficial for you as killer. But I don't do that. I allow them to go and get the unhook. I was quite surprised that that actually hit Dwight there. It must have been the very last pixel of the hitbox that actually hit him. So that's our second hook on Dwight, and while we're hooking Dwight, the Rebecca has gone in for the 2 unhooks in the basement. Obviously, there's nowhere else for me to go on the map. I have one player on the hook behind me, and I know exactly where the other 3 are. So we head back over to the basement. Here's Rebecca. And I already know that nobody's left the basement as there was no scratch marks coming out, so I know the 2 are still down here. And there's Cheryl down again. Now I know if I hook her, she's dead. So I trap her, hoping somebody else may come in and I can get a chase on them, and then I leave her. And then our Rebecca has gone over for the unhook on Dwight, so we head over there. Again, they're stopping to heal close to hook. Dwight heads to shack. I let him go as he's just come off the hook, and instead I go after the Rebecca as there are traps in the area that she's running. There is the trap that I left on Cheryl. Somebody's gone to pick her up, so I ignore that and carry on with the Rebecca. I allow them to pick her up, and I hook Rebecca instead. I've got Starstruck and Agitation, so I carry her a little bit further, hoping to catch somebody with the Starstruck. As you can see there, Cheryl's been picked up. I know that they're over that side, is that where she was downed? But we let it go and place some more traps. And she's healed up as well. They're all healed up except for the Rebecca on the hook. There is Cheryl in the distance, hiding behind the log. What I'm hoping for here is a hit on her, just to keep her injured. David seems to be a trap magnet in this game. He seems to hit all the traps. So as we have a new target now, we let Cheryl go. David wants to run this tile, so I trap the pallet. And then we trap the window as well. If he wants to keep running this tile, I've cut off the 2 ways that he can go. We hold the teleport there, as I knew he'd run back at me. Get rid of the pallet, and then we hook David. This is David's second hook. So now we have Cheryl, who's death hook, Dwight is death hook, and David is death hook. All on the next hook, they're death hook. Here is Rebecca, who's only been hooked once, and there's Cheryl, so I go for the Rebecca, as I know if I get Cheryl, she's dead, and Rebecca can take another hook. And unfortunately for us, she was hit by the Starstruck, so carrying the David that little bit further worked to my benefit. Now we go over to shack to set a trap over here. There you can see Cheryl just went past the shack pallet. And there's the teabag. Now, a lot of people are saying that she was saying a thank you teabag. I don't really know what she was thanking me for. In my experience, survivors usually don't run when they want to thank you with a teabag. They tend to crouch and stay where they are if they're thanking you. That's just my experience though. As you can see, she ran and she keeps running. So I didn't take it as a friendly teabag. And then she falls to the trap that I placed as I was chasing her in. Had she been looking behind her, she would have seen that I did place that trap. And the tea bag's returned, as I do send back the energy that you give to me. So, as I said, there's been a lot of controversy on my TikTok about this clip. Some people agree that she was being rude. Some people think that I overreacted and that she wasn't being rude to me. She was saying thank you. So now she's gone, everybody is now death hook. As you can see, to back to what I was saying earlier about the gens going early on when you play Hag and not to panic, you can see that yes, they did do 2 gens quickly, but since then no other gens have been done. I have no idea what Rebecca was doing here, but I can hear footsteps, somebody else is here. And there he is. It was the David who's hiding in the corner there. I didn't see him. So we take a hit on him, and then we hook our Rebecca, who is Death Hook. As David's setting off traps again. So now we know which way David's going thanks to the scratch marks. So we replace the trap. And this is why I went over after hooking the Rebecca earlier to put a trap at Shack, as survivors will usually run to Shack for safety. Now as the David's down, I'm looking for Dwight. Placing traps as we go. I didn't think I was going to find him, and then just in the distance there I caught a glimpse of his red cap. That is what gave him away. Of course Dwight's got sprint burst, so he makes good distance on us. Trap the window in case he uses it again. Which he did. And now it's just a matter of time before he hits another trap. I got cooked there by the side of the tile. So as you can see there was a little jump, skip ahead. I'm not sure why it does that. It happens on quite a few of my videos. I think it's something to do with the PlayStation, as I don't tend to see it on PC players' videos. David has crawled all the way over from Shack. I was going to give David the hatch, but he kept wiggling, and that's usually my rule. If you don't wiggle as the last survivor, I will give you hatch. If you wiggle, obviously you're going to get free, and then you're going to teabag me as you go out the hatch. So if you ever play a hag and you're the last one, don't wiggle. It may be me, and if it is me, I will give you the hatch. So, my lovely, lovely people, that was the Mother's Dwelling game. Yes, granted, she is not the most toxic survivor I've ever faced, of course not. It was 2 teabags at the Shack pallet, but in my eyes, toxicity is toxicity, whether it's just a little bit of toxicity or they're teabagging you every 3 seconds, every pallet they get to. To me, a fuck you is a fuck you. So, I would love to hear your thoughts on the matter. If you are new, thank you for subscribing. Please go back and check out my other videos, and you will see that I'm not some raving lunatic as I come across in this video, so apologies for that. If you come over from my TikTok, thank you. If you're here just out of pure luck and you haven't been to my TikTok, please go and check it out. The name will be in the description box. I also have a Twitch channel, although to give you forewarning, I do not stream regularly as I get a lot of anxiety, especially if I stream playing killer. But a follow on that would be very much appreciated as well. If you enjoyed the video, a like really helps me out, and I love reading your comments, whether they're good or bad. I do appreciate them, and I would love to have some discussion on this topic, should you be willing to partake. I do have a few other videos I will be putting up shortly as well. I'm not sure if there's any toxicity in those ones, but either way they will be put up. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope the content gave you something to think about, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Anyway guys, I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you very much for all the likes, comments, subs, and all the other love that you show me. It is very much appreciated, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Have a great day guys. Bye.